forms or structures in classical music. So after this, you should be able to approach almost any symphony, any sonata, any string quartet or whatever and have a good idea of how to follow it. I'm going to be looking from the classical period, that's Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven onwards, because that's when the function of musical form really exploded, and these are the guys who totally influenced musical form over the next 250 years. So let's start from the top. What is a sonata? Sonata implies a group of pieces called movements. So in turn, a movement is a piece which belongs as part of a sonata. So the Moonlight Sonata has 3 movements, for example, or Brahms' Third Violin Sonata has 4 movements. For some reason, the word sonata is only applied to compositions for up to 2 instruments. So you'll get a piano sonata or a cello sonata, but when the group expands, we start calling them trios, quartets, quintets, and so on, instead of sonatas. This seems weird to me because really from the music of Haydn onwards, all these pieces are sonatas, just for more instruments. And in the same way, the symphony is really a sonata for orchestra. The concerto is a sonata for 1 or more solo instruments playing alongside or against an orchestra. So we get violin concertos or piano concertos or even double concertos for violin and cello and so on. Normally, a full-sized sonata will have 4 movements. The first is an important and typically dramatic movement, and this will almost always be in sonata form. Then there'll be a slow movement, and this could take any form, ranging from lyric forms to sonata form, just like the first movement. There'll be a minuet or scherzo, which will mimic to some extent the forms of classical dance music, and this gives a nice contrast to the slow movement. And the last movement will be a finale, generally lively, and it's often in sonata form like the first movement, but typically it'll be in rondo form. So you see that this sequence of movements provides a great opportunity for a lot of contrast and musical interest. They're not just writing one 5-minute piece which expresses one emotion, they're taking you on a journey which has been carefully sequenced to take you through all these emotional states before the final payoff, a bit like a well-crafted film. And this is especially the case from late Beethoven onwards, whereas Haydn and Mozart are closer to expert craftsmen with their sonatas. Late Beethoven onwards really gives us a carefully crafted sequence of emotional events. The slow movement and minuet sometimes switch places if the composer thinks that that'll make the sequence more dramatic. Now, I said that this is the full-sized sonata, but many piano sonatas, chamber sonatas, and concertos only have 3 movements. This is because they often exclude the dance movement, because the dramatic first movement, slow middle movement, and the lively finale provide enough great material on their own. So